Camp Guardian is a destroyed NCR base, a vivid and yet another example of corruption and nepotism within the Republic. Located on the eponymous Guardian Peak, it's currently home to rats, lakelurks, rat scorpions and coyotes. Construction began in October 2281, and the camp ceased to exist in December of the same year. Unable to last even a few months, the camp was meant to serve as an outpost, preventing the Legion from moving north along the Colorado River, while monitoring changes in the water and observing Lake Mead from the western side. In the lowlands, you can find a sign that was modified by Republic soldiers. They added the word camp to the inscription Guardian Peak, marked its elevation as very high, and listed its population as approximately 12. The location is now almost entirely abandoned, and its history can be pieced together from the camp's diary entries. The courier, upon visiting, can collect 11 diary pages, scattered across the peak during the ascent. I decided to simplify today's narration a little. In the bottom left corner throughout the video, you'll see the page number corresponding to each segment. It's also worth noting that some pages are missing, and our story begins on the day 3. Sergeant Banner, responsible for the daily report, opens day 3 with a description of conditions on the peak. The place is completely abandoned and is an absolute mess. Most of the foot trails leading to the peak had become inaccessible due to erosion and are buried under rubble. Others had simply worn away and were covered in such a thick layer of dust that it was impossible to tell which direction to go. The sergeant doesn't understand what the planning team was thinking when they called setting up a camp on the peak strategically sound. At least their group was allocated enough rations to last months without additional supply runs, and the Colorado River could provide water and fish if necessary. He hopes that tomorrow will bring some clarity on how to clear the neglected peak. After some time, the group managed to clear most of the small debris and rocks, blocking the way to the first bridge. That thing, and there is truly no better word for it, is in terrible condition, and repairing it will take time. Fortunately, several wooden shacks nearby were dismantled for planks, and with their help, that thing can now officially be called a bridge. The sergeant hopes that materials won't run out before they reach the summit. Private Jackson mentioned he heard howling coming from somewhere far away a night or two ago. To the sergeant, the sound was nothing more than the wind. In the end, with just 12 soldiers, the group made significant progress establishing themselves on the peak. The sergeant is impressed that even with such a small team, they cleared almost all the debris in such a short time. By the end of the week, the sergeant and Kale finally reached the top. The research team was right. The view from the peak is absolutely stunning, but there is still a lot of work ahead. The sergeant sent a runner to Camp Bravo to request a radio from Makaran. Without one, the entire observation post is pointless. If the nearest Camp Bravo is an hour's walk away, during the Legion attacks they'd simply be wiped out, and the Legion can advance deeper into NCR defenses before anyone could even respond, possibly even in stolen fortifications. Work is in full swing, but the banner is receiving more and more complaints from Jackson about the strange howling. He thinks Jackson may have mental health issues and an unresolved trauma. His previous team was completely destroyed by the Legion, and survivors were enslaved and sent far south. The sergeant sent several subordinates on a scouting mission to find the source of the howling, but apparently they don't notice anything either. Banner thinks keeping Jackson away from the ammunition is probably wise, at least until he settles down. Work continues. Jackson still hears howling, and while the soldiers are tired from clearing the path, their spirits remain up. The group finally cleared the remaining section of the trail. It can now be seen as usable. In some places, pre-war wooden fencing had even survived. With an effort, improvised barriers were constructed at the most dangerous spots. Banner hopes that none of these blockheads fall off a cliff. During the clearing, the soldiers accidentally uncovered cave entrances. They appear to be interconnected. Entering the one leads you out through another. Only one passage is still buried under rubble, likely leading deeper into the mountain. That damned reconnaissance team didn't report any caves. What the hell are they supposed to do with them now? The sergeant hopes there will be no more surprises at the camp. Almost another week has passed, and the radio from Makaran still hasn't arrived. Banner sends a runner to Bravo to beg for any communication device at all, a walkie-talkie or anything, until Makaran finally decides to send the requested equipment. The sergeant swears that the lunatics in the command expect soldiers to be proactive. Maybe they'll find pigeons and start sending letters to Makaran by bird. Though which one is worth more, a scrawny pigeon or a letter? It has now been exactly 2 weeks. No radio from Makaran, and clearly none is coming soon. At least, the rangers from Bravo took pity on them and shared a portable radio, so that if the Legion starts moving, the soldiers can at least alert Bravo. Halford will install the permanent radio when and if it ever arrives. For now, he's responsible for the portable unit and makes daily contact with Bravo. The radio is working properly. The group managed to build steps along the steeper sections of the trail, and finally, all the equipment and supplies can be carried up to the summit. Last night, Jackson burst into the tent, shouting that he'd spotted moving shadows in the water. The sergeant acknowledges that there are many good athletes and runners among legionaries, but swimmers? And how many of them could quickly cross the river? Banner sent half of the group in pairs to search the spot Jackson had indicated, but again, everyone returned empty-handed. The sergeant is starting to think Jackson's condition is unstable, and he may need to be isolated until proper help arrives. He'll request a replacement when the radio from Makaran finally comes. At last, Makaran took pity on the group and decided to send the needed radio. Halford installed it at the observation point. Should the Legion begin moving, the soldier on the watch can now quickly contact Makaran and report to them about the situation. Banner wants to know which genius decided to send a group to the middle of nowhere without a radio, so that in the event of a real threat, they couldn't even carry out the function the camp was built for. Possibly yet another politician's son or a corrupt official. Now, the sergeant himself is beginning to hear strange sounds. During last night's watch, Banner was absolutely certain he heard splashing water, somewhere in the lowlands below. He requested additional investigation from Makaran, but they dismissed the sounds as snares from isolation. Fish are the only thing beside legionaries that could make sounds like that, but even fish don't make that much noise. He sent half the squad with lanterns to scout, but they couldn't see anything. No other cave entrances have been found either. Banner thinks he's catching Jackson's madness. The squad could definitely use some night vision equipment. In the dark, all you can make out is the sky and the vague outlines of the rocks around them, so the cat eye will definitely be helpful. More surprises. Collins discovered the cave entrance right under their damn tent. Reconnaissance should have found the cave if they had visited the site at least once. Banner doesn't know what awaits inside, but they definitely don't have enough people to handle whatever might be living in there. The sergeant intends to have a few choice words with Berg, the guy who served the pig, as this isn't the first time he missed critical details during reconnaissance. Banner prays they are not sitting on top of some kind of a nest. He'll send Frakes and Collins to sweep the caves tomorrow. If needed, they'll use explosives to seal the entrances. At this point, the diary ends. Before moving forward with the story, let's briefly have a look on what remains from the camp. Wild brook flowers grow here and there across the peak. Rats roam freely, and aside from signs of a struggle, you can find the bare minimum of living conditions. One tent for 12 people, some supply crates, and a reasonably set up observation point. And honestly, even setting aside the missing radio, the camp is extremely poorly equipped. Soldiers cook over an open fire and cope with their heat however they can. If not for the old wooden shacks and whatever fencing remained, the path up would have either been impossible or would have cost lives. Exploring the caves, you can come across a living Private Halford, the one responsible for the portable radio. After day 20, where the entry is cut off, the camp was attacked by lakelurks while the soldiers slept. The creatures managed to eliminate almost everyone at once. The diary, like the camp itself, was torn to pieces. While lakelurks dragged his comrades into the depths of the caves, Halford managed to record a distress signal and set it on loop on a radio frequency, hoping someone from Bravo would hear it and report that 11 out of 12 soldiers at the camp had perished. Until that night, Halford believed lakelurks were a myth. During the conversation with him, it becomes clear that he wasn't asleep during the attack. he was cleaning his weapon. After recording the signal, he was knocked out and dragged deep into the caves, but he managed to draw his knife, threw it into the back of a lakelurk, brought it down and strangled it, then hid in a side passage. During the fight, the creature damaged his leg, making escape nearly impossible. Without food or water, Halford waited for help from Bravo, but the signal never reached their frequencies. Besides the courier, no one is coming. After the attack, all he could do was wait for starvation, a wandering lakelurk, or a miracle. The story of the camp ends here. But before the finale, let's look at how you can help Halford in-game. To rescue him, you'll need a medicine skill of 50 or a doctor's bag. After treating his leg, you can complete the Unmarked quest Help Halford, letting him to go through the main entrance. With the speech skill of 50, you can convince him to honor the fallen soldiers and clear out the lakelurks together. In one of the side passages, you can find the remains of the camp's squad and collect their dog tags. Halford will thank the courier for helping honoring the memory of his comrades. After defeating the lakelurks, Halford intends to desert and head to New California, leaving the military service behind. He'll mention that the courier can hand the soldiers' dog tags to Quartermaster Myers at the Camp Forlorn Hope, so their lives won't be forgotten. The private will give the courier his rifle and a schematic for an NCR dog tag fist, a unique version of which can also be found in Cottonwood Cove. To sum it all up, Camp Guardian was founded on top of a monster's nest, resulting in the deaths of almost all the soldiers stationed there. The tragedy could have been prevented had the camp been better equipped and the scouts more thorough in noticing the caves and the lakelurks living in them. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button and leave a comment. See you next time.